Welcome to Ciao Bella, hosted by me, Erica Firpo, a travel journalist based in Rome. Each episode of Ciao Bella, I sit down with Italy's creators, contemporary artists and artisans, designers, culinary experts, heritage brands, and innovative aesthetes, and more who are defining and redefining 21st century Italy. Pull up a chair and join in. Hey, welcome back to Ciao Bella. Today I'm here with Mistura Allison, a curator, writer, and art historian living in London, born and raised in Mantua, and is Yoruba Nigerian. She's the founder and editor-in-chief of Ashiko, and we're here to talk about art and the African diaspora in Italy and the world. And with us is also Ifeoma Nneka Emelurumonye. She's a medical doctor, and I know you're going to ask me why, but hold on a second. She's a medical doctor specializing in public health and hygiene in Turin, Italy. She was born in Rome, so she's Romana, raised in Le Marche, and is Igbo Nigerian. And she also just happens to have an incredible passion for art and fashion. And together, we're here to talk about Ashiko. Welcome, ladies.
Hi,
Hey.
ciao bella.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao belle. I'm so happy. You know, I really, when my friend Arlene forwarded me information about your project, about Ashiko, I was like, this is so interesting. And the reason I mentioned the fashion was because Arlene came across, I think she met Ifeoma at an art opening. Is that possible?
Yeah.
And she,
An art opening.
in Milan, right?
Yeah.
And she told me, she was like, I met this woman with incredible fashion. And she's like, you should see this project that she's working on. And then as I was talking to you, I was like, she's a doctor.
Yes.
I'm like,
That's the reaction.
Sounds about right.
And I was like, wait a minute. And then, so I'm going to add that you're artsy and brainy, and I love it. So both of you are artsy and brainy, and I'm really happy to have you on here. Let's talk about what is Ashiko.
Hi,
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Erica, for having me and Ifeoma. We're truly grateful for you for making space. Ashiko is an independent, visually driven and dynamic platform that, as you, I guess, introduced, is inspired by Africa and its diaspora. I like to describe it as a platform for visual culture in, of, and from the margins. And I guess what we're trying to create is, this issue of voice and visibility. And we're just trying to constantly and consistently create art. So I guess we're contemporaries in that sense.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit, Mistura, why don't you tell me a little bit how you, because you're the creator, you're the founder of Ashiko, and I know you founded it in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell me how you got to Ashiko? Because you told me a great story about you and your father and a class trip, I believe.
Right. Okay. So we're going all the way back to Prima Media. And my father is a huge source of inspiration for me. He's always been, as any father, very nosy in my business, really. So he was, how do you say it in English? You know, when parents are like rappresentanti, like that's,
Yeah, like that's because I am one. And the parent representative, which is like the PTA
Exactly.
mom. Yes. And
exactly. So sorry, go on.
No. I was going to say, sometimes it's a not fun job, but yes.
Exactly. But well, he took his role very seriously, because I don't know if it's still the same, but they're actually voted in. And for my very first year in middle school, he decided he wanted to be that. So in any case, it was one evening I was, practicing and studying for my history verifica. And he heard me repeat that these African sculptures were inspired by Picasso's paintings. And he was like, what? I don't think that's quite right. Actually, it's the other way around. Picasso was inspired by African sculptures during, I guess, the middle phase of his career. And I was like, well, this is what's written here and this is what I need to pass. I've always been a very perfectionist when it comes to actually getting my optimals and 10s. So I was like, well, this is what the teacher said, so this is what I'm going to repeat. And it was like, okay, cool, wait for me. And
you were such an Italian middle schooler, because my daughter says that to me when I'm like, well, actually, and she's like, this is what it says.
Well, you have to, because they're going to mark you down. And I don't want to get buono because my dad told me what's not written in the book. And being the fierce Yoruba man that he is, he noticed that. So I was born and raised in a little village in Mantua, but in Mantova there is the Festival Letteratura, and that year it was focused on African literature. And amazingly, there was a panel of African artists and practitioners at the time. I believe the most impressive one for me was Billy Bijoka as an artist that year. So it was like, well, in my role as a parent representative, I can sort of direct the trips that are going to be taken. So he made sure that the trip that we were going to take was not skiing in Austria, but in Mantua, going to the Festival Letteratura for that, I guess, I think it was 3 days. And it was incredible because for me, it was, I guess, my first encounter to contemporary African art. And I will never forget it. I still got my ottimo, by the way, like the record show. I still passed that verifica, the interrogazione. But I guess that was my first real encounter to contemporary African art. And then it was revisited at university as well.
And you studied art history in London, not in London, in Reading?
In Reading, yeah. I studied art history and architecture. And I guess the universe really wants me to do what I'm currently doing, because the very first assignment that we did, so like the module was on, I guess, learning how to read paintings and sculptures. I don't remember, what was it called? I don't remember what the module was called actually, but the exercise was on visual readings, right? So I remember the professor, Barbara, she's awesome. She made us pick 2 pieces of paper with, they were either artists or an actual painting or sculpture or work of art. And you just had to pick randomly. Okay, this is very important. Randomly pick, almost blindfolded, but we went really, and just do compare and contrast the works, right? And then, of course, I had to pick I had to pick this sculpture from Benin, and that's currently displayed at the British Museum. And our good friend Picasso. And I just had to write a 1,500 word essay and compare and contrast these 2 works of art. And continuation, serendipity, and I guess, I don't know, signs, if you believe in that. And again, I also passed that. I'm not competitive or anything, but I really did well in that. But yeah, I think that's when for that assignment, I can 100% credit as the start of my disruptive nature and wanting to challenge the canon, because that was the whole point of the exercise in any case, really challenging art historical canons. And I'm deeply grateful that I had teachers and professors that were not traditional in that sense, that really fostered, I guess, disruptive budding art historians. So that was cool.
No, I think that's great. I studied art history as well, and I had some incredible radical professors, and then I also had some that were very, there is a certain way of studying and a certain way of history, and so so you're definitely, that's great that you had that. Now, you're a curator as well, correct?
I am indeed.
And how did that, and is that, so tell me a little bit about how all of this fused into Ashiko.
I guess I've always, even from childhood, I've always been one that really champions people. I have, I'm an interesting personality-wise. I'm very interested in the sense that I really hate being on the spotlight, but I love giving people a platform. And but in the same breath, I'm very almost I have an active imagination, and I like creating worlds. And I fell into curating, I guess, in art school and at university. They will force you to do crits, and we would have our little group shows that we took very seriously. Not. And somehow it always fell on me, oh, Mistura, you curate this, because I'm so busy doing my art. Then shout out to my friends. And I like organizing. I like creating narrative. I think telling stories is so beautiful, and doing that through art, there is so much power in creating a narrative in that sense. And creating a narrative for giving the viewer carte blanche, that you can read whatever you want, but this is the context, and then however it impacts you, then that's on you. And I like the fact that we're creating, as creators, we're creating worlds, and we're creating stories. And I'm also a wannabe archivist, and I believe in the power of archiving, and I take that very, very seriously. And as Black, when it comes to Black visual culture, I think it's so important for it to be archived, and I guess ownership as well. And I find all of those qualities I find in curating, because essentially it's not about you, it's about the artist, it's about the story, but you're the one, writing
Mm-hmm.
the context, and it's about relationships as well. I've been very, very privileged to have actually an actual relationship with all these artists that I work with. And there are so many different walks. You could be in the same environment but have completely different experiences, and I find true beauty in that as well. So I guess, yeah, I don't know, is a control freak, is I don't know what it is, but somehow I guess in Ashiko, what it's just this one thing, and this true disruptive nature that I carry within myself, of just creating a world. I've always said it as a joke that as a child of the diaspora, where you're too something to be this thing, and to this thing to be something, that we should just find an uncolonized nation and land and just colonize that and just be. So, but then logistically that's impossible. So I guess I wanted to create this world where we can just be, and where we can code switch. 1 minute, I'm just a Yoruba babe, and 1 minute I'm Italian, and 1 minute I'm very, very Mantovana, and a world where I can be all of my layers. And so many, regardless of where they're from, the diaspora recognizes that, and I found that, and I recognized that there was a need for us to have a space where we can just be, really.
Well, I'm really excited to see Ashiko, and I know that Ashiko has existed, but I know that in October 1st, something new is happening. So what do you want to tell? Can I? Did I just was it jump the broom there?
You sure did. I am so excited. Ashiko is launching October 1st. I want to say that again. Ashiko is launching October 1st, 2021, and we're launching with an amazing fundraising print sale that is guest curated by Ifeoma Nneka, my girl. And yes, we're launching with the print sale. We're launching with it's also a streaming channel. We're launching with films that have never been seen before. And we're launching with so much. It's a world. And I guess I'm going to give the mic, I'm going to pass the mic to Ifeoma to talk about Anotherland.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I had to thank Mistura for allowing me to, let me say, use and share Ashiko platform for one of my aim with the Ashiko and with my, let me say, work in the heart world of start, let me say start, because I don't know if it's going to continue. I hope it's going to continue like a community of collectors, especially Black collectors in Italy, but hopefully in all Europe. And even because another my will with Ashiko is to try to embrace and welcome more and more people in the art world. And even though if you're not, let me say, a rich person, but because I believe art is for everyone. And so my idea was to create, like organize this print sale with artists that I found mostly on Instagram that maybe I've been followed and I've been reached out. There are 3 artists from Italy, Germany, and Togo. And Anotherland is the theme of this print sale. I don't want to say too much, but let's say that the topics that I gave to the artist to reflect for the artwork and for Anotherland is identity, community, and diaspora. And if they could be in a place or where they can express all themselves, how this place could be.
So so you follow you discovered these artists on Instagram. You selected them from prior works, but you asked them to create original pieces for the print sale.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly
wow.
like that. Exactly like that.
And will the print sale, will it be an auction style or like a set price?
It's a set price, and we are fundraising for hopefully a residency program for these artists and more. And essentially we're trying to build this economy where trying to disrupt this idea of the struggling artist, really. Like, you don't have to struggle to be an artist, okay? That is, I feel everyone, when you're creating, you should be paid for it. Exposure doesn't pay the bills, okay? So we commission this, I guess we can announce the artists, no? We keep calling them as artists, but they got names. So we're very proud to present Delali Ayifi, Malaika Nabila, and Emmanuel Yoro. Our amazing inaugural artists for Ashiko. So they've been working really hard on reflecting on the themes that Ifeoma has set. And they're creating new pieces. And when it comes to identity, it's also an a very emotional exercise, especially when it comes to the diaspora, because there is this common thread and common theme of displacement and not really knowing where you fit. But what we found out with Anotherland is actually we're not interested in one tiny brown box. A, we're too fancy for that. And B, why does it have to be a box? You know, we're not interested in that. And what we're interested in through Anotherland is actually the power of self-definition. And that's what these amazing artists have been doing. It's just self-defining what Anotherland means to them and what, who, and where it means. You know, it's whatever that, it's an exercise of imagination, of thinking beyond what you know.
I have to say, I really, when you told me Anotherland, I really love the name. I think it, and also, and then actually, just as Mistura, when you were talking about, you know, when you briefly just said, you know, taking over an uninhabited country, that's Anotherland then. You know, it's kind of this virtual uninhabited country, and that these are the narratives that are going to start populating it. And I guess that's what Ashiko is.
I was going to say, Anotherland for me is Ashiko. Ashiko is this other land that I've always envisioned as a teenager as well, I'm a Pisces, so I tend to wander in my flow of thoughts. And I guess in that wandering, in that imagination, I've been able to create something concrete. So Anotherland for me, Mistura Allison, is Ashiko.
Tell me, I have two questions. The first question is just the logistical question. How do we find Ashiko?
You can find Ashiko on www.ashiko.net, and that is ASHIKO.net.
Now the other question, and I'm going to ask both of you to think about this. You described yourself, Mistura, as maybe a little bit of a control freak, very passionate. I would say super curious and very passionate. And you said you love archiving and things like that. And and don't answer this right away, and then you are who's worked in curation, who loves curation, and you have given Ifeoma the role of guest curator. And I'm just kind of shocked because I am pretty similar to you, and I would find that very hard handing over that freedom. Second, so then my question for you, Ifeoma, is you mentioned something that I really like, because my sister is a doctor and we both went to the same university, and we were 2 years apart, and I was studying art history and she was finishing up her, so I was in my first year of art history, or second year, and she was in her last year of pre-med before medicine. And she decided to take an art history class with me because she felt like she'd never have that opportunity, because her world was going to be just so focused on medicine. And she really felt, she felt like, it's really hard to be able to follow that passion and see all that when she had to study biology and all of this stuff. And, and I totally got what she was saying. She was very focused on getting her medical degree. And I think a lot of people often feel like, I'm this, so I can't do this. I can't, I can't understand, or they feel like, well, I'm so mathematical that I can't understand art. Or, like my husband, another case in point, he's an archaeologist who's like, contemporary art does not make sense to me. And I'm like, it's not about making sense. But my question for you is, so now you're given, like, when we spoke, just the two of us, and we're so passionate about collecting, and it made me want to go to art. I'd love to go. Actually, it'd be really fun for me and you to go to art gallery together, and just for me to see what you're looking at and how you look at things. But how do you feel about guest curating? Because that's a whole other world.
Yes, totally.
So this is now open to both of you to answer my question.
Yes, totally. I totally understand your sister, because I started to go through this world at the end of my specialization. So it took me like 6 years and then 3 years before I allow myself to be interested in something else. So I totally understand this, sister, because medicine takes a lot of energy mentally and physically. But another thing that I even want to do through everything I do is like even trying to dismantle the stereotypes of the medicine and medical doctor that can be only good at one thing and only be interested in one thing. And Mistura is one of my big supporter in that, because she has seen, I think, the magic that I've not seen myself for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so she pushed me a lot out from a comfort zone that was definitely medicine. And so I have to thank her about that, and to make me realize I can do quite a decent job even apart from medicine. And she's still, don't worry, she's still like a very controlling even.
I kind of figured. I figured she would be.
So definitely, but yeah, it's I think it's even because we share a lot of aims and the purposes for Ashiko and art in general that makes really work this thing to give me the job to creating this, because she knew that at the same time, at the end of the day, I'm still following her ethic in what she does. Me and Mistura share, we have most of the same purposes and aims for Ashiko and for the art in general, that it was easy for her even to allow me to be the guest curator. And And because ethically and morally, we actually work in the same way. So I think that's was the the good things about collaborating.
Oh, that's so nice. I mean, you did call me a control freak. Cute. But you managed to end it up on a nice note. So that's cute. I think collaboration for me is so important. Also because I always wanted to be, I mean, okay, cute story. I've always, my brother and I growing up, will pretend to be in a village, and I was always the villager of said imaginative village, right? But then, although I like the title, I didn't actually take it seriously in that sense. So I've always been a good sharer, and for me, the passion is more about making sure that our stories are being told, and I'm very passionate about that, almost irremovable, you know. As I think it's very important for our stories to be told, because for the longest in the canon they were told through a different gaze, and it's important for me that our gaze is being added to the story, and it's not the Mistura show, and it's not just my voice, and I'm not interested in only hearing my voice. It's almost schizophrenic. So in that sense, it was easy for me to share the platform, and that's the vision I have also for Ashiko, still just have lots of co-chief villagers and create this beautiful village together, you know. She's been amazing, and I really want to change this narrative that art is only for a certain type of people. Art is for everyone. Have you ever seen a cell in a microscope? It's beautiful, you know, and that is art. Art is reflecting of the society that we're in right now. Historians are artists as well, you know, and storytellers and medical doctors. And whenever you're creating something, you are an artist by the very definition.
My sister is a gynecological surgeon. And I remember one time she had an image that she had at home, and I don't know why I looked at it, which I didn't look at the name, so I don't know whose it was, but it was, you know, a surgery image. And I said to her, I was like, it was, you know, the quality of the print that it was on, because it was on that it almost looked like a C print,
right?
Like the photography paper, or like, it's like what C print is like, it's like film. And it was so beautiful. I was like, I really would like to have this framed. And she was like, that is a tumor.
Wow.
And I was like, but it is like the detail,
like
just like, yeah. And I think that's, I mean, but I, you know, it's kind of, I was going to ask you guys if you remember the first piece of art that just made you really like smile and want to smell it and stand in front of it and just love it.
Wow, Erica, I've never been asked before.
Yeah, me too.
The very first piece of art.
Or if it doesn't have to be the very first one. Is there one piece that kind of keeps you, that, you know, like, I mean, I think the reason I love art is because it has this ability to make me want to just like ingest it, smell it all, and then just stand there in front of it, and then I just smile the whole time. And there are a few pieces in my life that I'll keep going back to over and over again. And I'm wondering if there's any like that for either of you.
Actually, I have mine, and it didn't actually take me that long, because immediately when you asked, I just thought about it. And it's actually a passport picture of my maternal grandmother that was, I think I must have been 3 or 5, I don't know, very young. My uncle decided to blow that picture up into an actual, I want to say, A3 photograph. So imagine little passport picture. And she looks like a model, okay? And she's so beautiful, and nothing and no one makes me smile more than my grandma. Literally skip my mom. She's cool. Love you, mom. But my grandma is just so she's art for me. She's my point of reference for most things that I do. And this picture, black and white, and I remember I'm mentioning this photograph because I am still fighting for it. I want I want to inherit it so bad, but thanks to technology, I can actually just replicate the photograph. But I, if I'm being totally transparent and honest, I think that's the one for me.
Oh, I would love to see that. Oh,
I will show you.
That's nice. Well, for me, I think I don't know where is it. I know it has to be somewhere in my maybe my garage or something. When I was small, I remember we used to have at home a very huge how you say ventaglio in English?
Ventaglio.
Yeah.
Like
a fan? A fan?
Yeah, a fan.
Yeah, a huge fan. I think it has some I don't know. I don't remember. It was a huge fan, like was attached on the wall of our house. And I went to stay to live by myself, I always wanted to have some heart in my house and everything. And the first thing that I remember was that huge fan, but I couldn't find it. And I think it was my mother maybe took it from Nigeria or something like that, and she put it in our home, and I don't know where is it, but I still remember that I loved it and I wanted to in my home. And this is where even I started to thinking about heart, and I want heart pieces in my home. And that is where the second place that I thought I want heart from was my friend's flatmate. He's an artist. He paints, but he visits a sculpture. And every time I go to their house, he's full of his artworks. And I told him, like, when I'm going to live by myself, I want one of your piece. And it's actually what is my first piece that I bought from in general in all my life. So
Alessia Barchetta.
Is it a painting?
Yeah.
Alessia Barchetta. All right, I'm gonna have to look that. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to see your collection.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's from Sicily, a small town near Messina, and he lives amongst Milan and Sicily because he has a studio in Sicily, and but he studied in Brera and everything, and he has his boyfriend is in Milan, so that's why he moves from between the two regions. But I love his works, and I bought one of his first work when he used to play a lot with soils and water and materials, and and in fact his paint wasn't like that before. It transformed during the years because of natural reactions, like with hair and stuff. So I really love his works and his paintings mainly. And so that is my first piece, and I'm very attached to it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at his work on Instagram right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd love to see I'd love to see his piece that you have. I'd like to see your whole collection. By the way, how did the two of you guys meet? Because by the way, everybody should know Mantova is in Lombardia, and it's really charming, cute little town. You're from Le Marche. What town are you from in Le Marche?
It's a very small town. It's called Monte Marciano. It's on the Adriatic coast, and it's actually half from Ancona and Senigallia. It's really in the middle. Okay,
so basically, for everybody who doesn't know Italy, they're not near each other.
Exactly.
I mean, to me, from Rome, you guys are like next door neighbors, but in the reality, they're two different regions. One's on the coast, one's very inland. How did you guys meet?
We met in Milan.
Friends. Yeah, in Milan. Milan is the city, is the center.
We met
friends. Yes.
At Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's talk at what's it called? Book City.
Yeah, it was Triennale. Was a Triennale.
Triennale, yeah. Wow, that was ages ago. Weird. Yeah. We met through this amazing event. Actually, I guess it was a author talk, Chimamanda, I think she was being presented with a prize, and there was an in-conversation. And that night for me was special because I guess it was my introduction, can I call it that, to more Afro-Italian young creatives as well, because we had a really great sushi afterwards and amazing conversations, and just another moment of actualization, realizing that actually I'm not the only one. And also it was important for me because obviously born and raised in Mantova, in a little village of 2,000, if any. I think they're more than 2,000 now, in Medole, and then moved to London in 2009. So I've been in the UK for a very long time, and just, sort of feeling like an outsider within my community, and feeling, oh, can I even really claim Afro-Italian when I've been away for so long? But of course I can, and then just recognizing that although we're all in the same we grew up in the same environment, but we all had very, very different experiences. And it was a very special moment for me. So yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Afro-Italiani, because I think, especially over the past 2 years, we've seen in Italy, there's been a lot more conversation. There's been, for all the good and all the bad of Italy, and all the good, again, I think the downside is that it's tied to this concept of a homogeneous identity, and it's not. It's. I mean, historically, it never was, but if you consider antiquity, but I'm not gonna go there for now. but it's not. But I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing so many more conversations, so much more, like more importantly, not conversations, but a vision, like a community that is out there and sharing, and it's really nice.
Yeah,
definitely. One phrase that I always like, I'm not say rejected, but I always totally disagree, is like, there are no colors in human beings, there's no colors here. And I was like, no, actually there are. and we finally having these conversations, because I mean, there always have been conversations, but what I finally, I think we, Black Italians, Asian Italians, Muslim Italians, like every type of ethnicity, cultures, we finally are in positions where we are starting to get seriously listened, because I believe like how my parents, my relatives, or friends of my parents have been talking, they had discovered even evidence and testimonies, but maybe we weren't a lot in positions like as medical doctor, politics, in a social and cultural, like we finally get people to listen to us, and we finally have some actions. I'm saying starting because changes take time, so it won't happen immediately, but as you said, I'm happy to finally have these conversations with everybody, and starting from us, because something that we always say, that we finally we started to have the awareness that we are a community, even though like we are Italians, definitely, but to realize that we Black Italians is something that it came later, a bit for some of us, for me, for example, and definitely changed the narrative of then culture.
absolutely. I mean, when you think about, I guess it's important for us to keep talking and keep creating, because we're visual human beings, right? If we conjure images in our head, and when you think about an Italian person, you don't automatically think about us, right? And there is one singular stereotype of an Italian person that just consume spaghetti, you know, especially if you're in the abroad. It's like pasta, spaghetti. You're like, oh, we're more than that, but okay, you know. We're trying to add a voice and a layer, I think, to what it means to be Italian. And it's not the status quo of, or it's not what's traditionally always been conjured. And it will take time, because it would definitely take time, as Ifeoma said. But I guess the ultimate goal is that when you're thinking about Italianness or Italian, what it means to be Italian, you don't only have one reference. You have multiple layers and multiple realities of what it means to be Italian. And it's beautiful because I think, as Ifeoma briefly mentioned, for instance, growing up, I didn't have the language to define myself as Afro-Italian. I just called myself Italian full stop, because that's what I knew, you know, because I didn't feel quite just Nigerian. And because I was only in that Italian, I guess, environment, I thought, well, that's all I know. So I guess that's what I am, you know. And then actually encountering the different, I guess, walks of life, I was like, oh, wait, I'm not just Italian, I'm also Nigerian. So how do I define that? Where do I go from here? And, you know, even the label Afro-Italian is one that is contested because, you know, you're pitting a whole continent with a country in that label. So some might prefer Nigerian Italian, for instance. And I love that. I love the fact that we have an option to self-define. So right now I will describe myself as Afro-Italian, but who knows, in 5 years, I'll probably have another different label, you know. And being given the opportunity and the power to self-define is one that it shouldn't be overlooked at all, because it really informs who you are and the confidence you have in walking in this world, you know, because you walk in environments knowing exactly who you are and not questioning it and not putting yourself in one definition, because I am not just Italian, I'm not just Nigerian, I'm me. So yeah.
Tell me what we can expect on October 1st, because we're going to enter Anotherland. We're going to enter, we're entering. Wow. So tell me what we can expect on October 1st and what you want us to expect of Ashiko for the future, or the future present.
Wow. So October 1st, you can expect to support amazing art from free, hardworking, emerging artists, and support their practice as well by buying the prints. And we are also launching with a merchandise, and we collaborated with River is Wild, which is this DC-based clothing line. And also,
what can you repeat that? What's it called?
Yes, River is Wild. We're collaborating for some merchandise. Wild. Yeah, they're amazing. And they are also sort of, I guess, also redefining what it means to be a Black creative. And they have their own Nigerian American identity that they sort of translate through their clothes. Mm-hmm. And we've done this amazing collaboration, looking back at Festac 77, which I guess is actually what I envision Ashiko to, this season of Ashiko to be a meeting spot for different types of Blackness and the diaspora and other, to just be and manifest. So we got the printer, we got the merch, and then we got art films as well. They're going to be on the streaming channel.
What's the streaming channel? Where can we find the streaming channel? On the site?
It's still on it's still on the site.
Okay.
And we commissioned Kene Nwantu, who is an amazing Nigerian artist. And he created a short film that's going to be there, and the artists in Anotherland as well created short films that are going to be featured on the platform. So yeah, it's a whole lot of things happening, and we've got a Sonic Power Hour as well, which is archival conversations with artists, because we believe in giving flowers now and not when we're dead.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how
As you can see, you are expecting a lot.
yeah,
There's a lot.
But from both of you, I mean, the more that I get to know you, that's basically what I expect from you guys. You guys are both so, I mean, it's like every time we've spoken, I as I tell you, I keep smiling every time I speak with both of you, because I'm like, the energy that you both have is incredible. And then I'm just kind of laughing because I'm like, oh my God, these women they will never get tired.
I hope not. And when I do get tired, I hope it's on an island, and then just chilling by the sea. That's the ultimate dream, actually. I just want to be surrounded by water. But Erika, honestly, I just want to give space for a second and really thank you for sharing your platform. And honestly, you keep talking about our energy, but you have an amazing energy, and we're truly grateful. Honestly, we're definitely in alignment, and I appreciate that. And I just want to give space to recognize that.
Well,
say thank you.
If you could see me, since we turned off our cameras, but I'm blushing. So I'm just going to demurely say thank you. And that's really, really nice. What I'd love to do is have you come back in like 6 months and have another conversation, because by that point we'll talk about The Conquering of the World by Ashiko.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm really looking, so let's read. I just want to let everybody know it's ashiko.net, ashiko.net. And on October 1st is when you launch it, and we can, how long will we be able to participate in the sale?
So you'll be able to participate from October until December 2021, so 3 months.
Oh, so that's perfect for people that want to dabble. You can look at the art for a few weeks before you buy a print. Let me tell you that Christmas gifts, holiday gifts, prints are great. But I mean, anytime, in my opinion, anytime anyone buys art is a good time. So just letting everybody else know that.
And we're encouraging young collectors, please buy art and start. You are the future of art collecting, so please do buy.
Yeah, because it's going to go right to the residency program that's going to happen with Ashiko. That I can't wait to be in that when we have that conversation. I'm really looking forward to that. So again, you guys, you just make me smile, and I'm really, really happy to have both of you today. And I can't wait till October 1st.
Grazie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ciao Bella. If you'd like to know more about today's guest, please visit ciaobella.co and click on the podcast link, or go directly to ciaobella.co/podcast. Want more Italy? You can find all my episodes on iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher. When you have time, subscribe to iTunes and rate the podcast. What are you waiting for? And if you want to be part of the podcast, email me or DM me your Italy questions. To learn more about me and my work, go to my website, ericafirpo.com, and follow my Italy adventures on Instagram at ericafirpo. Ciao, Bella! And a very big thank you and hug to Massimiliano Yonta and Disc to Disc Studios, the producers of Ciao Bella, who continue to make me sound and feel great.